We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based.
Hi Mario, hi Syria. How are you guys?
Doing well. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. So what do we have today? Let's start.
Of course. So the first question is from an anonymous user. He said, GitHub profile for EB1A. GitHub is one of the components I have for my EB1. I have 50K cumulative stars for my personal projects, 2 projects with over 10K stars, and several with 1K stars. How should I frame my profile?
Well, wonderful. Uh, Prima facie, I mean, there should, while you have done a wonderful job, and I think 50,000, it shows that you are amongst the top in the GitHub also, actually. But however, there are certain dangers, and my point here is not to kind of appease or kind of frame my response in a manner that would kind of just please you, but I think give you a very realistic, kind of an expectation. First of all, it is not about the GitHub that is going to matter, it's about the actual contributions. So I think what you need to do is that you list down your kind of state the contributions precisely. How many contributions were there? Which contributions had, I think, the maximum stars? I think you can go by that at the first level itself, actually. So you have to quantify the impact. Who all have used your, how many lives have been impacted? Who all have been there? Then third thing is that you need to translate the metrics into significance. What is the significance of that? Don't focus on GitHub and stars, because otherwise there is a danger of it sounding as a vanity actually here. And provide context and benchmarking and link it to the final merits. That's what I have to say actually. So I repeat what I said. The first is state the contributions precisely. Number 2 would be the quantify impact with hierarchy. Number 3 is translate metrics into significance. Number 4 is provide field context and benchmarking. And last but not the least is that link it to the final merit determination. I think this is the best way that it can happen moving forward actually. Okay, so let's move to the next question.
Yeah, certainly. So our next question, they ask, how do you determine whether someone's career story is compelling enough for EB1A beyond simply just checking the criteria?
A very basic and fundamental question actually. I would rather say that, okay, how many lives have you impacted? What are how do you define the metrics? I mean, if more from a philosophical level, you can say that what would be the impact on the field of expertise and the world if you were not even born actually. Truly extraordinary professions are the one, if you really note, the world would have been a very different place to live in if they were not even born. That's about the true spirit of being an extraordinary. I mean, that's all I have to say, actually. I mean, we are not talking about criteria. We are not talking about metrics. We are not talking about final merit determination here. We're talking about what is it. So how, if you are not even born, how would the world look like? And how would that expertise be like, actually? There are two kinds of, I think people confuse between somebody who is an exceptional and somebody who is extraordinary. Exceptional person is a kind of a person who uses his knowledge for an application, for something as an application. And truly extraordinary ability is a person of an extraordinary caliber, is a caliber of a person who kind of contributes to his own field of expertise. So you need to call, whether you have done a contribution to your field or you just have been somebody on the bench, applying that particular knowledge, whatever you have possessed. You may have degrees, you may have qualifications, you may have a tremendous knowledge. A person is an expert not because he can talk about a subject or because he has a knowledge about the subject, because he can solve problems. What problems have you solved in your field of expertise is something which is going to be very important. Okay, so that's the kind of a lens that I would look at it from a career story perspective, beyond just checking the criteria for being an extraordinary ability or not. So let's move to the next question.
Sure thing. So the next question is, what type of evidence consistently have the greatest persuasive value when demonstrating long-term impact in a profession?
Something number one is not a vanity. First, what are the evidences which are not? Somebody which relies on too much of adjectives. For example, a letter of recommendation, that's a more of a hyperbolic language being used actually there. That is not an evidence. And number three would be something that is beyond, without any metrics. Now, the question here is that what is a good evidence then actually? So if you say that uh, exactly opposite of that. So when you say it depends on the criteria to criteria, but let us say when we are talking of a criteria of a critical role, then you need to kind of uh, understand that what are the success metric, what is the dollar value that has been impacted actually because of you. What expertise did you bring in there? That something is important. In the original contribution, what is the significance on the field? That is more important actually here. In terms of media, what is the outreach? What is the global? Was it a global outreach or a domestic or a local outreach that mattered? You got an award. Who were the jury who selected the award? Who were the past recipients? Who are your contemporary recipients with the award? Now, these are some of the actual citation of the award rather than just making a statement that statements have no relevance value. Your own statement would have no probative value. You see, evidence has to have a three functions. Number one, it has to be authentic. Number two, it has to be credible. And number three, it has to have a probative value. So there are three dimensions to any evidence, and if it fulfills, it meets the requirement. Okay, so let's move to the next question.
Yeah, absolutely. So I get this question a lot. They ask, how can someone build credibility within their industry without relying on social media or personal branding?
In fact, social media would not make an impact, actually. Let us put it that way. What matters is what has been your contribution to the industry. So that is beyond your company. Most of us are working in a company. Okay, for example, you guys are director of admissions working in your field. So what is the contribution that you guys are doing that would become an example for all director of admissions across all the coaching industry? Now, this is something that you need to think beyond your day-to-day job, what you're doing actually here. Now, social media would not, is just a kind of, I'm sorry to say, I won't hesitate to say this, but it is just beyond a point. It's a vanity matrix actually. Okay. So you need to kind of go far beyond that actually in that sense. Rather than focusing on social media or something. One can keep on talking about it, but impact beyond the industry means that what are the frameworks that you have created? What are the models that you have created for other people to follow who are in your similar role or profile across different, maybe your competitors has used your kind of or learned something from you. You have changed the dynamics, how the industry operates. These are some of the things that you need to kind of be mindful of actually. Okay, so let's move to the next question.
Of course, so the next question is, what are some profile building activities that appear impressive on paper but contribute very, very little to a strong EB1A petition that you've seen while helping build someone's profile?
I have only one thing to say here actually that looks very good on paper is just vanity metrics actually, vanity and metrics. If it is a vanity, what is okay? Oh, I got 100,000 followers on Instagram. So what actually? Ask yourself this question, so what? It looks so very impressive actually here, but what has been the impact because of that is something that you need to be mindful of. And what are the metrics for your success? What is the impact metrics that you have created? Lack of that would be just what we call as a paper tiger actually here. When it comes to truly being extraordinary, I again repeat to my previous response, which I said, that it all matters is how would the world look like if you were not even born. You may have 100,000 followers. But what does that mean to you actually? What did that may mean to you? But to the field, does it mean anything actually here? What is your field of expertise? Is something that looks very impressive. So there are only two things I would say. Anything that sounds vanity and hyperbolic, and number two would be metrics with lack of metrics actually. Okay, so let's move to the next.
Certainly. So this next question they ask, how should someone measure whether they're making meaningful progress towards EB1A over the next 6 to 12 months? Do you provide any type of progress analytics within the program?
Absolutely. We have a paralegal who would like kind of an assess you at and there is a who would assess you at a specific points, and also there is a dedicated coach who would, at least if we insist that you should meet at least once a week if not more with the person, with a coach who has been assigned to you at least once in a week actually here. Okay, so that's the kind of a thing. And in terms of analytics, I think we have to measure everything. And as you're working in a company, there is a performance indicator we have, or KPIs as we would call it. So we measure those KPIs actually in all possible way. Okay, so there needs to be success metrics based on that. Okay, let's move to the next.
The next one, it's a profile evaluation. This is definitely a long shot. My profile, PhD in experimental physics, specialized in quantum networks and quantum communication. 3 papers, only the first author. 2 more coming soon. First author paper was featured in physics organizations. Only 120 citations. 3 patents to approve. 1 file should be approved as well. Working collaborations with national labs and industry. Have only reviewed 1 paper. However, I have shared sessions in prestigious conferences, several invitations to give talks, and fully funded participation in conference and workshops. Also have a fellowship from NSF. Can arrange 5 letters of reference. I am preparing my petition for EB2 and wondering if I should also submit EB1A because I am from India and the backlog is so bad. Any advice, suggestion is welcome. Thank you for your time.
You see, I would definitely say that the last part I would give a more earlier. I would try to attend to that. EB2 NIW, definitely you should try to, if you want to lock in your priority date. So that might be a very good strategy to do it. With reference to your EB1A, still my question to you would be that what's your expertise? It's not experimental physics. It is very broad actually. What is a niche? What is the kind of, if you have done a PhD, what has been your thesis that has it created an impact actually? What has been that impact? So you need to focus on that actually as well. So without your expertise, again, I'm I don't understand. Whether you speak about 120 citations, somebody who is in the top 10% of your field of expertise, how many citations are good enough for that particular person actually, that you need to check it out. Maybe if you are in nuclear physics, if you are in a space astronomy, space travel astronomy, there could be several other unique fields where the total number of citations would be very already, there is no low and high. Maybe 10 citations are supposed to be very good in that actually. Who is citing your paper? What is the quality of the papers who are being cited by you actually? I think you need to do that actually there. Okay, so I think your profile, first of all, congratulations on achieving whatever achievement you have made. It's a wonderful achievement, but I think we need to know more granularly into it. If you kind of want to kind of ask questions about your profile review, going into more detail, we offer a 15 to 20 minute review with a former USCIS officer. You can do that. And if you feel you are ready for your EB1A, you can kind of reach out to Mario and Syria. The link is given below, and we will be more than happy to help you. Okay, so let's take the last question now for the day.
Certainly. So the last question they ask, how do you help professionals uncover accomplishments they don't realize are valuable for EB1A for an EB1A case at the Next League program?
I think it's a brilliant question actually, because it's how do you help professionals uncover? I think this is something a beautiful question, because you may realize at the time, because most of the people who come to us are at least 5 years of experience, and during that experience they have kind of done some projects or something which may have more than $1 million impact actually what they would have created, because everything that you do in a company or if you're doing a job, it translates into dollars. Let's understand, that's why somebody is paying you. Now there we have had a couple of people who did some projects in their organizations that manifested into, like for example, making an app, making a software for a company which saved millions and millions of dollars, made an app that basically could be sold for a valuation of close to $100 million. Now these are some of the things that happen, and when you there are 3 dimensions for success for your EB1A. First is your own expertise, second is understanding EB1A, and third is how to present yourself. When you realize the dynamics of EB1A, the whole jurisprudence of it, the laws of it, the case laws of it, I think you realize you are at a much closer to EB1A than what you actually perceived yourself to be at actually. So if you can kind of, so when somebody is in the program, we basically let them explore their own minds, their own job. You have to do the entire done process is patented process. We have a patented process that helps you to do that actually. Okay, so that's all we have for the day. And if you want to reach out to us, or if you have any questions, we're happy to kind of help you. If you want to reach out to us for EB1A, please reach out to Mario and Syria, and wish you all the best and have a wonderful weekend ahead. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining us today. If you have any further questions or need personalized guidance, please reach out to us. We are here to help you every step of the way in your journey towards achieving your American dream. Let's connect and make it happen together.